Hello, welcome to another edition of Business Weekly. My name is Vivian Kai Lokko, where we bring you all the top stories that made headlines in the world of business for that week. Coming up in this edition, Parliament passes over 3 bills related to the banking and financial industry as well as the economy. That is the ratification between the Economic Partnership Agreement with the EU as well as the Bank of Ghana Amendment Bill and some other bills. We'll bring you up to date on that. And also, over 100 Ghanaian workers in the oil and gas sector likely to be laid off in the coming weeks. I'll tell you why. Don't go away. So let me take you to Parliament, where it has passed the Bank of Ghana Amendment Bill. Now, this gives the state 5% funding from the central bank instead of the 0% government and the bank had requested. Now, the bill, after it is assented by President Mahama, will significantly strengthen the Bank of Ghana's functional autonomy, governance, and ability to respond to banking sector crisis, while plugging loopholes identified in the existing act. Still in Parliament, and it has ratified the Economic Partnership Agreement with the European Union. Now, government earlier signed onto the interim agreement but was awaiting ratification from Parliament as stipulated in the country's law in relation to international agreements. Now, the ratification of the agreement by Parliament will lead to the entry of a percentage of imports from Europe to Ghana and vice versa, free of tariffs. For Ghana, some of the free access on exports to the EU market include processed cocoa products, fruit and vegetables, as well as fish. Let's still stay with Parliament because it has also passed the Public Financial Management Bill, which seeks to protect the National Treasury. Now, the bill will, among other things, also address the persistent weakness in fiscal failures in accountability mechanisms and provide a clear budget process map that strengthens the link between fiscal strategy and policy. Let's go to the oil and gas sector here in Ghana because there is some troubling story coming from there where the General Transport, Petroleum and Chemical Workers Union have warned that hundreds of Ghanaians working in that industry will be sacked in the coming weeks following the drop in the prices of crude on the international market. Now, according to the union, about 300 workers have already been laid off and others are expected to lose their jobs. Let me take you to some other stories because key business associations in Ghana are demanding that government reject the terminal handling charges yet to be implemented by shipping companies at the country's ports. Now, they argue it will be unfair to add onto their numerous tax charges as their businesses are already on the brink of collapse. You know, the Registrar General's Department has extended the enforcement of penalty for the registration of companies from Monday, August 1st to October 3rd, 2016. A statement copied to Citi Business News explained that by this, the definition of the 25 penalty units will amount to 300 Ghana cedis for each day that the default continues with effect from the new date of Monday, 3rd October 2016. We'll keep an eye on that development story. Now, let me take you to the banking industry because banks in the country want government to slash taxes slapped on them to be able to offer cheaper mortgage loans to their customers. Now, they argue that the continuous imposition of taxes on interest and on mortgage make it difficult for them to reduce interest for the average Ghanaian to access mortgage services. Now, currently, interest rates on mortgage hovers around as much as 50%. Now, the situation is said to be impacting negatively on the country's ability to solve the 1.7 million housing deficit gap. Now, also anticipated to increase to about 1.9 million by 2019. Speaking to Citi Business News, the Managing Director of HFC Bank, Robert Lehand, said slashing the interest will help banks to also contribute better to the mortgage industry. Let's still stay with the banking industry because majority of bank customers are also demanding that interest is paid on unclaimed funds which are likely to be moved to the Bank of Ghana after being inactive for 5 years. Now, following the passage of the Banks and Specialized Deposit Taking Institution Bill this year, accounts which have been inactive for as much as 5 years will be termed dormant and subsequently moved to a Bank of Ghana account. Now, banking consultant Nanotue Champo has rejected the call for interest to be paid on those accounts, stating that in the banking rules, an account declared dormant does not attract interest or attract charges. Still in the banking industry, and EcoBank Transnational Incorporated (ETI) has appointed Dan Saki as Managing Director of EcoBank Ghana and the Regional Executive for Anglophone West Africa. His appointment is subject to regulatory approvals, after which he will assume the position on September 1st of 2016. And to my final story for this edition, where airlines in the country are expected to pay 25% less for aviation fuel they now purchase. It follows the announcement by the National Petroleum Authority, that's the NPA, that it has reduced the cost of aviation fuel by as much as 25%. Per the new directive, a litre of aviation fuel currently selling at about $3.14 will now drop to $2.35 per litre. Thank you for joining me for this edition of Business Weekly. Look forward to being with you again next week. My name is Vivian Kai Lokko. Goodbye.